Hello, welcome back to the Nook. I'm Daniel, and today I'll be reviewing this book here, The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. So, just to give you a bit of history, this book is a standalone novel, and it's indie published, not traditionally published, and it came out in 2018. Now, The Sword of Kaigen has been talked about a lot on BookTube and social media, and it is considered one of the most amazing standalone fantasy books, and it's just really good. And it took me a while to actually pick it up. It was just recently I bought it from a bookstore, and so I finally decided it was time to read it. And I can honestly say I get what all the hype is about. Before I go further, I'll just read you the back description, just to give you an idea of what it's about. So it says, on a mountainside at the edge of the Kaigenese Empire, live the most powerful warriors in the world, superhumans capable of raising the sea and wielding blades of ice. For hundreds of years, the fighters of the Kusanagi Peninsula have held the Empire's enemies at bay, earning their frozen spit of land the name the Sword of Kaigen. Born into Kusanagi's legendary Matsuda family, 14-year-old Mamoru has already known his purpose, to master his family's fighting techniques and defend his homeland. But when an outsider arrives and pulls back the curtain on Kaigen's alleged age of peace, Mamoru realizes that he might not have much time to become the fighter he was bred to be. Worse, the empire he was bred to defend may stand on a foundation of lies. Misaki told herself that she left the passions of her youth behind when she married into the Matsuda house. Determined to be a good housewife and mother, she hid away her sword, along with everything from her days as a fighter in a faraway country. But with her growing son asking questions about the outside world, the threat of an impending invasion looming across the sea, and her frigid husband grating on her nerves, Misaki finds the fighter in her clawing its way back to the surface. When the winds of war reach their peninsula, will the Matsuda family have the strength to defend their empire, or will they tear each other apart before the true enemies even reach their shores? So that's the basic premise. So you're following Mamoru and Misaki, and you get to meet her husband, who is not the greatest. He's not the best. Their relationship is pretty cold. But what's cool is you can kind of see that relationship start to evolve as the story goes. And I won't be talking any spoilers, but this was an amazing story for the character work, for the battles. The magic at play, the magic system where they can kind of create ice spears and manipulate water, that is very similar to a show I've never seen, but it's quite popular, called Avatar: The Last Airbender. Within that show, of course, they have what's known as water bending or fire bending, where you're using the elements. And in the case of Sword of Kaigen, they would draw moisture from the air and use that to form ice spears or other things they could do with ice and water. And there's people that can use fire. So honestly, I loved it. Misaki is a great character because in fantasy, you don't often see a lot of mother characters. Usually it's someone that's single, or maybe they meet someone, fall in love. But Misaki is into her 30s and she's a mother. So I wouldn't call her middle-aged, but she's, a young adult mother dealing with all her kids and her husband. And so, yeah, this is really about an invasion that happens, and no one really believes that this invasion is real until it really happens. And what happens with the Matsuda family is they have to draw together to help each other in this invasion. So you see this kind of family getting together, putting aside their differences. And honestly, the first half of this story is super fast-paced and action-heavy with the invasion. And towards the middle half to the end, because it's a pretty chunky book, towards the end, it's more slower paced. It's rebuilding after the attack and dealing with the deaths and what happened. I will just say, for a trigger warning, there is a rape that occurs. This is in a wartime, that's quite frequent. It's not super explicit, it's just there if that's a trigger thing for you. There is a bit of that, but that's really the only thing. And yeah, it was just a really great story, and I get the hype now. I get why so many people love The Sword of Kaigen, why this is a beloved story. And I will just say, M.L. Wong also has a book that's unrelated that I believe is also standalone, called Blood Over Bright Haven. So I will probably be reading and reviewing that quite soon. So yeah, that's about all I can say. If you haven't read Sword of Kaigen, which a lot of people have by now, I highly recommend it, and I just think it's a really great story, a great standalone, and now I know what the hype is all about. So yeah, So please leave a comment if you've read this, if you're interested in reading it, and until I see you next time, remember, you're always welcome at the Nook. Bye.